All right, welcome into Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge. I'm your host, Ahman Green, and my co-host John Audius is still out of town. He actually is out for business now. I believe the Wisconsin ladies basketball team, and if you remember, he works for them. He does a lot of commentary, color commentary, gameplay watching of them and describing. So he'll be back hopefully next week. And he had the issue the week before where his car broke down in Minneapolis visiting the in-laws and couldn't get back in time. He had to get obviously his engine fixed. So welcome into the Gamers Lounge podcast. So this is the first, if your first time coming in here, we talk about video games. We talk about the video game world and industry and things about it, good and bad. And then the fun stuff we talk about is like game releases, our recommendations, and then what's on stream, our recommendations there. And then also we interview fun and special people. So this is the third installment of my people who love video games in Wisconsin. So I'm gonna bring in our guest, Brandon Tschacher. How you doing, Brandon?
Man, I'm doing good. It's good to be here.
Oh, nice, great to have you. And so me and Brandon, well, before I get into that, let me just recap my week from last episode. So I got a 2-year-old that's winning, that's dominating. Okay, me right now. And she's my granddaughter. She's 2 years old. She's beautiful, and she's already intelligent, smart, doing things that 2-year-olds that I didn't think 2-year-olds could do. So I put her down for a nap, or I put her down for bed at night, and she has a room. We have a room for her, and we have the bed, and we put rails on there so she doesn't fall out. Being safe, grandparents, thoughtful grandparents. And then we put a gate on the door so just in case she wakes up, so we don't have her wandering the house at night. So she has devised a plan to escape. She's a little escapist. So she has took the pillows from her bed and stacked them up to the gate to climb over. And I'm like, I'm not even mad. I'm like, I'm impressed. I'm like, my granddaughter is a little escape artist right now. I'm like, oh my goodness. Every morning I come in to go get her and she's already walking the hallways, and I look at the gate, the pillows are there. I'm like, oh my God. I said, this girl is hilarious. And we have 2 big dogs, so she gets beat up by the dogs a little bit. They're just walking past her, but she doesn't know, and she's still kind of like gaining her balance and everything as a kid growing up. So that's interesting. And then she talks very well for a 2-year-old, I believe. She's asking me, that she's hungry, saying, basically saying I'm hungry, or eat, but she's kind of whiny, going, eat. She's ready to eat. So all right, time to eat. Or paw, I poop. I'm like, all right, let's go. We got to change diapers now. So it's been, I say, a kick into gear real quick back to those daddy days for me. I'm a parent of 5, so 4 girls, 1 boy, Brandon. So I don't know where you and your significant other are in that aspect, but for me, we're done, but we're actually now in the grandparent area now. So it's a learning experience. And the fun things though I was able to do with her, I have a Pac-Man just on the other side of this wall, a cabinet one, an old school one. And so one day when I had to stream last week, I had a chair, I pushed up to it, and I sat her in the chair, and she was up there playing Pac-Man and Galaga. I was like, yeah. Even though she was just hitting buttons and stuff, but still, it was the introduction of that. And hopefully, maybe she remembers that when she's 15 or 16, and say, oh, I remember Grandpa, him putting me in front of the Pac-Man machine and Miss Pac-Man machine and going at it for a couple minutes. And so, maybe not, so I had to do that. And but trying to stream with a 2-year-old in the background, I would say I highly recommend try not to do that, because you will lose your wits. I'm sorry, because when you stream, and Brandon, you know this because you stream, you do Zoom calls, you're in meetings or you're in a production. If you have a 2-year-old in the background, trust me, that will test your multitasking threshold of doing things. You will be like, okay, I'm talking about this, but then you like looking behind you, like, is it broke? Is she okay? So yeah, don't ever do that. I'll say that would be a test. If you could do that and stream, then you need to be a content creator. So
man, I have a 2-year-old at home, so I know exactly what you're talking about, man. That is
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. So with that being said, so that was my last week. And so now I'm going to bring in Brandon Tschacher. He is the organizer for MKE Esports Alliance in Milwaukee. So Milwaukee Esports Alliance, that's the full pronunciation of that. And me and Brandon have been knowing each other a full year. So he is the guy here in Wisconsin that if you know an event or if there is an event, if there's a program or there's development for people in the video game world or the esports world, from my knowledge right now in the southern Wisconsin area, Brandon Tschacher is the guy for it. So Brandon, man, welcome into the stream, man. How you doing?
Thanks, man. I appreciate that introduction. And yeah, it's been a crazy year since we probably got connected at the beginning and was like, what will this look like? What's going on? To be a year later knowing all this stuff is it's definitely a blessing. And thank you. It's cool to be here. I've been following you for a long time. We've been having a lot of fun in between, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now, so I feel like It's a good thing that this exists now. Who else has been on for the Wisconsin esports side? You said you've been bringing some folks on.
Yeah, so you're part 3. So first week was a guy by the name, it was a lot of people at IC Stars. Obviously, I just used my connections there, to be honest. So Brian Wilcox at BattleBox.
Oh, yeah.
It was week 1. Last week, it was Sean Bowers and Tony Reali, actually from Edge VR Arcade, or Edge. It's now Gamers Lounge, Gamers Lounge up in here in Green Bay. And this is you for week 3. And then next week, the whole organizer behind IC Stars, Janine, along with Jordan from Tier 1, will tag team together in part 4. And that might wrap it up. But I know I've interviewed other people in the gaming world, like Andy Eeyore from, or Andy V, I call him, his gamer tag is Eeyore from Gaming Generations in Sheboygan. So he was on about a month ago. And I kind of think like, dang, if I would have thought about it like that, I would have had him a part of this. But I might just bring him back on because we play Halo. We play Halo together all the time. Online. So he's always doing stuff at his shop there, fixing, he works on Xbox, but also he's a big time gamer. Used to work for Microsoft back in the day. So, I had this idea. And, it was kind of from IC Stars. It kind of motivated me, like, you know what? I think people, because I know people that follow me on Twitch, they're in Eau Claire, they're in Green Bay, they're in Milwaukee, they're in Racine. And sometimes they don't know what exactly is going on in the video game world in terms of esports, because there are cons, there are events here in Wisconsin, Milwaukee area mostly, but then obviously Madison, maybe Green Bay might have something, and I know they are planning something like that in the nature of an event or a program in terms of esports. I know UW Green Bay, I think they having a launch today. I don't know if I'll be able to make it, but they're doing a big introduction of their esports program at the University of Green Bay, Wisconsin. So, excuse me. So it just, that's where it came from. It's just like, oh man, let me just spread the word, kind of like yourself, what you're doing here. So like we talked before we just came into stream here, the one question I ask everybody here is, what is your gaming origin story? Who got you gaming? How old were you? And what was that one game that turns you on to video games?
Man, that's a fun question. I appreciate you asking that question, because a lot of the chances today that I'm getting to connect with people is a lot about the Alliance, a lot about esports, and it's all good. I love that stuff. But, if you can see over my shoulder here, this is a lot of N64 games. I got regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64. So I actually, prior to this, I'm into retro video game collecting. So I've got a fairly extensive collection. You mentioned your Pac-Mans. I've got 2 arcades here to my right, The Simpsons and Turtles in Time. So like, that's my space, right? Like, I love retro video games. It's just something that I've kind of enjoyed. And so my origin story is actually, similar to a lot of kids who grew up in the 90s, I would say, but my parents actually were against video games. My parents were split, but my mom and my stepdad weren't really about video games and weren't about TV. So I kind of had to always play other places. And I loved it, as everyone would have, right? But like, the story that I remember probably the most is like my initial game. I played Duck Hunt and played all the as you would play all that stuff, right?
Exactly.
Street Fighter, all that was accessible. But I would say for my 10th birthday, my mom let me rent a PlayStation from the Video Visions in Jefferson. Like, remember back in the day, you could literally rent a system, bro. And it came in the box and the whole thing. Took it home. was able to somehow assemble it to work on our CRT TV, I mean, like old school TV, like even before they had like the inputs. And I had my 10th birthday party. I brought everybody over and we played NBA Live 98. Tim Hardaway on the cover, Kobe's rookie year. And I was a huge Kobe fan. I mean, Kobe was my guy. And so I'll never forget like playing NBA Live 98 on PS1 for my 10th birthday. Is kind of like, that was what got me into it. Like it was like, I was good at it. It was fun. The graphics at the time were, like so cool. But then it kind of just went from there. I didn't get a chance to play a ton. I was an athlete, maybe similar to yourself. So I was always in sports, football, basketball, track, all the rest.
More of a downtime thing,
Yeah, for sure. I like PC gaming. So I was into like Icewind Dale, Age of Empires.
Wow.
But the time wasn't always there. I mean, practice would go from whenever to whatever. You got to come home and eat. So like, then I'd get on the computer, and like, I don't think I got a computer in my room until I was like a junior. Right. So it was like, access was never a huge thing, but I always loved it.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's been sort of funny as like, I would say I played through college, kind of as everybody did, 360, NBA 2K. My buddies and I used to play NBA 2K association mode like it was our jobs, like I laugh now that like NBA 2K is like this genre, and it's certainly played way different than it was when we were into it, like 2011, 2012. But we played so many hours, co-op association mode, like 20, 30 years into the future. I mean, it was just like, we loved that stuff. And then I probably took a break. I had like a little bit of an interim, in my mid to late 20s where I probably didn't game at all. I mean, I had like an Xbox One, but I never really spent much time on it because I was out, building things, like building the community and doing a lot of community stuff. But then I kind of started, like I said, I got back into it. I started, my wife's parents brought her N64 to the house and were like, hey, she used to have this, and here are some games. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really, like, I turned it on and I was just like, damn, this is so cool. Like the nostalgia and everything, and I could go on, just came back. And so then I was like, oh, maybe I should just see if I could find the boxes for these games. And the rest is history. Now I got 9 systems and 400 games, all CIB, and just like crazy. So it's been a journey, man.
Oh man, yeah, that like the retro games. When I remember when they first started dropping the retro systems, like at Best Buy and GameStop, the smaller little ones. And obviously when the Nintendo one came out, that was the one I was looking for. So the first time it launched, I didn't get it. So I waited till I was like, they're gonna probably do this again. And they did. And then right after that, they dropped the Sega Genesis. So between those two, I was like, I gotta get them. Obviously, I was like, it's gonna be interesting if they even able to have Duck Hunt with that, which I was like, if they have it, great, but I'm pretty sure that's a hard push because they got to put more in that little area in that box. But I was like, at least have the basic, like Super Mario, Tecmo Bowl. Those are the games. That was my after homework games or long Saturday, long Sunday, nothing to do as a kid games I would play along with Duck Hunt. And then the game I remember with my stepdad, he got the system. He got me the mom and dad got me the system for my birth or for Christmas. And then we went into Gyromite, if you remember, with Rob the Robot. Yeah, dude. And you put down you have Rob that drops the little spinning thing down that helps you drop
Gyromite. That's nice.
Yeah, to drop the doors down or the walls down. That was keeping the guy on the screen. So that was like when Nintendo already showed like where they were taking video games, where you actually could use something that you could touch. Now, and then it works on the screen, and they still doing that with that. I remember the box games they brought out last year where you had to put the box together.
Oh, right.
In the game, it somehow was part of the game on the screen. So yeah, that's them retro games and memories. Those are good they're good times.
I love them, man. I love them. And it's funny though, because I had all those same memories, and that was actually the precedent, candidly, for like why I got into esports, because I was watching a documentary called High Score on Netflix, which is great if any of them watched it. It's really nice production. It's cool.
Yep.
And I just was sitting there like, man, like if you'd have asked me at 12 years old what like video games were going to be, like I would have told you they're going to be like everything. They're going to be big in society. Like, and I could have spoken to it from like, again, athlete, like good academics. Like I was that kid, but I was also like gaming is great. And I think that was the stigma back in the day. And so I was like, well, what am I doing for my son? Like, how am I embracing this new genre? How am I looking at like the new space of esports? And I realized I knew nothing about it. And so that was how it got started, was just
Right.
wanting to learn from my kid and taking kind of my retro experience and understanding, I think, the more broad values that gaming can bring. And I get asked all the time, like, oh, what about it turning your brain to mush? Like, the stigma is still there. It gets
Right.
brought up a lot. And I'm always happy to have that dialogue because I think it's healthy to be able to talk through that kind of stuff. But, you and I, we could both articulate and speak to the value. And I know you do it a lot too, of there's a good mix, and there's a mix that gaming provides. There's a mix that technology provides that can be beneficial. And so, yeah, that was kind of where it all started, man. Great question. I'm glad I got to share the story.
Yep. And then and you already kind of touched on it a bit. So tell us a little bit about yourself and more, something that you haven't mentioned that you've been up to. And then obviously your life leading to this point, and you already kind of hit on it a little bit. And I'm going to ask you the next question, just piggyback on top of that. What was your journey like to esports, basically?
Yeah. So, I mean, you kind of heard the gaming side, which was cool. So that was sort of my come up on the personal gaming side. Outside of that, professionally, so I went to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, ran track and field there. So I was like, as a Panther, did the college athletics thing. And then, moved into media. So I worked in media for a number of years at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, TMJ4, if you're familiar with those down here in Milwaukee.
Yep,
so got some experience in that world. And then, kind of went into this tech startup space. And so I started to learn kind of how you scale and do some of, things in the business community in a startup kind of fashion. But then in addition to the professional stuff, I was always really interested in volunteering. So I was always involved in a lot with the Salvation Army, working to create groups to kind of benefit that organization. And so between those two kind of adventures, I got to just learn, I think, what it takes to bring people together, to unify around a cause, to go into something authentically, to provide value. And seeing those things succeed just kind of gave me a sense for like, oh, this is something that like people, myself, can do. You can take this experience and build other stuff. And so, fast forward to the start of this journey, it was kind of like asking questions of people in the current Wisconsin esports ecosystem. Like, what do people want? What do people see? And so when I heard that there are a lot of silos, that people are needing to do their part, and that's usually as a volunteer or as a side project, that's what it takes their time to do, I kind of just made that connection and thought, hey, we've had some experience doing this in the past through these efforts. I wonder if we can do it and kind of replicate it in this esports space. And yeah, man, so far the answer's been a resounding yes, which I'm really grateful for.
Good. So any other details of how that journey's been, like people, giving you kudos, compliments, or giving you more ideas to be motivated to continue to grow that, connecting different people here in the state of Wisconsin?
Yeah, I mean, I think the past experiences. So one of the groups was called Echelon. It was a volunteer group.
I remember that. I've heard of that group. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, when we started it, it was, one of the first in the country. As of last year, I think there were 50 chapters nationwide, many of which had been built kind of off of our model. So that was, in that way, I think we received positive affirmation of the effort that had been undertaken. But really, when we started that, it was just of the mindset of how can we bring people together as a collective group to move a cause forward. And something like the Salvation Army, which is 150 years old, fourth largest nonprofit in the world, all that kind of stuff takes a lot to move that ship around. But I think we worked, the leadership team and others, to just day by day, how can we improve? What can we do that's different? What can we do that's unique? And then try to always be innovative. And so it was the lessons from that experience, I would say, that like are translating into these as well, because I think those tenets are pretty applicable in most any circumstance, right? Try to be innovative, work well with others, be collaborative, try to move the cause forward in an authentic way. I think that will work no matter what you're doing. And so so we've gotten some recognition in the past for some of those things, which has been really appreciated, but almost as much just to get the exposure out there for the cause. When you get recognized, when you get PR and you can use that platform to tell the story for the cause, that to me is as important as anything these days. And we're seeing that with esports too. The Alliance has been in the news quite a bit. And really the whole intention at any time doing something like that is to evangelize. Thank you to our educators in the space that are working in the high school realm. Thank you to people like yourself in our collegiate ecosystem that are moving programs forward at a really high level. Thank you to the investment from a team like the Bucks. Thank you to Gaming Generations. Thank you to Gamers Edge. Thank you to, Gravity Gaming. Like, thank you to all those folks, Game On and Sheboygan, who are out there doing it, that's our role, is just, showcase the good work they're doing. And I feel like we've seen that work in the past.
All right. Yeah. I mean, because it's something that for everybody, that's why I say people who love it, because you got to have a love and a passion for something to pursue it the way we both have, to really drive it home and see where we could find our where we could fit in at, what that niche is. And for me, just kind of like yourself, it was me seeing something in the video game world, then it finally caught my attention, and I'm like, that's the place. It was an event that X Games did, and I'm not sure if they still do it with Halo, but they were doing a Halo tournament along with the X Games back in 2016.
Okay.
And I saw one of the best players in Halo, Lethal, jump teams during the tournament because he got in an argument with his team captain or one of his teammates during the same tournament, left his team and played for the other team during the same tournament. That's how mad he was. I'm just sitting to myself, okay, now if I was during my playing days, if I got mad at Brett or Mike Sherman, I couldn't walk over to the Bears locker room and say, I'm gonna play for y'all now.
Yeah, right. I'm ready. I'm ready. Sign me up. Let's get the jersey.
I'm mad at them. They didn't make me mad. They ain't give me the ball enough or whatever happened to that in that game that got Lethal, one of the best players in Halo, to switch over. It's like, man, you really got to be, and you get emotional in gaming. It's just like competitive sports. You're there, but it's like, you also know you can't jump teams. You can't leave the locker room in the heat of battle to do that. So that was my way into it. So with that being said, I'll lead into what you're doing with Milwaukee Alliance, Esports Alliance. So tell people about it, what it is. I'm gonna jump into a graphic here where I have the website set up here.
Yeah,
so
cool,
there's you and your advisory board, and one of those guys. I know a few people. I met a few people recently.
Yeah,
Christy Lee Malone. I met her at the Icy Stars, and then I just met Patrick as well, the new GM of Bucks Gaming. So yeah, tell us about MK Esports and let everybody know what exactly your job is and what else you've done and got going on with it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. It's so we started in November of 2020, so we've been going on probably about 13, 14 months now, which is really exciting. And from the start, like I said, my journey into it was I just wanted to find out what was going on in the space for my son and to get it involved and get educated. So my first step was I just went to Google and Googled Milwaukee Esports. That's where I live. And it was just very interesting because along that process, very quickly, it was like, okay, something's amiss. Like I'm hearing $1 billion industry. But then when I go to the largest major metro in the state and I look up esports, I can't make heads or tails of the results, right? I'd see one-off articles. I'd see a Facebook group that hadn't been posted in 2 years. I'm looking at it going like, something's wrong. Like there should be a way if I'm raising my hand as an entrepreneur, as a business community member to say, I'd like to learn more. And there's no one there to receive me. Like there's no one to say, oh, thank you, interested party. Let's make sure we get you into the system. And so, like yourself, I mean, I just started asking questions. So anybody I could find on that front page that page 1, page 2, I just started sending emails to and said, hey, you don't know me. I would appreciate the opportunity to ask some questions of you if you have some time. Shout out to the Joe Loomises of the world, the Mike Dahls, the Jim O'Hagans, right? Like some of the OGs in the esports game here of Wisconsin that were kind enough to take a few minutes and help me understand what they were seeing in their positions. And once that happened, as I said, is looking at this past experience of some things that I had built and been a part of, the parallels were there. And so, I asked them a question like, what would you think about an esports alliance? Do you think like something like this would be helpful? Fairly unanimously, people thought, what, if someone would be willing to do that, we think there'd be value. So then I just go to Google, type in esports alliance, right? Oh, okay. Atlanta has an esports alliance. Kansas City has a coalition. Pittsburgh was working on something at the time. Nevada had a state commission. And then I was like, okay, there's really something here. Like there's, if Atlanta's doing something, and I looked at their site, it was an incredible amount of effort they were undertaking. It sort of set the blueprint for like what something like this could be. We've chosen to go at this very intentionally to have it kind of built by gamers for gamers, right? There is other entities, and not that it's wrong, but there's other groups that are really focused on the revenue side of this, making sure they capture revenue from a growing industry to make sure to tax it, and make money for the state. And that's all good. I mean, that's a natural part of it. But we've been really focused from the start, and you see it in our board. We want the people that are in this thing that are community connected, that are gamers themselves, that are from a diverse background, whether it's male, female, black, white, whatever, that are going to be able to be a part of this and grow it for the betterment of the gaming community. And so we started with that idea, and it was an idea. Like, let's see if people want this thing. And now, a year and a half later, one of the things I'm most proud of, and you're looking at it, is our Alliance members directory. Like, prior to this, if someone asked the question, what's going on in esports in Wisconsin, I don't think that answer was easily attainable. Today, you can just go to that directory and understand very quickly. And I say this as a layman, because I'm not I would say these days I'm more educated than most in esports after 15 months worth of diving into it. But
correct. Yep.
But I can answer that question. Here's what's going on. We've got high school teams that are growing at a rapid rate. We've got a collegiate scene that's growing at a rapid rate. We've got a couple pro entities that are operating. We've got several venues around the state that are taking place that you can go to, brick and mortar. We've got some leagues that have formed. We've got some notable gamers that are operating. And just to be able to answer that question has been incredibly beneficial. But then, stop me if I'm going on too long, but, the other thing that's of most critical importance to us is just connecting the community. And so you'll see we do a newsletter every month. We do community Zooms. We've got the first Wisconsin Esports Summit coming up on March 10th in Milwaukee. Like, we're doing anything that people have brought up to us that we can to create intersection points, because I think that is the most important part of this, and what we provide value on is we want to empower people, support them, get them connected, let them know they're not alone, and help them drive to succeed in the ways they want to succeed. And like, if we can do that, we're winning. We're partnered with the MMAC. We're partnered with Visit Milwaukee. We're partnered with major corporations in the state, because there is implications for workforce development. There is an opportunity for state legislature. There is an opportunity to showcase our region as a place for investment and for development from esports franchises and leagues and big tournaments. So like, we're not naive to those things. We certainly try to tell that story to give us the exposure the same way you do, right? With what you're doing, it's so appreciated. So we don't try to lose sight of that, but our number one goal is culture, connectivity, and trying to provide people a place where they can, empower their efforts. That's our jam, man.
Got it. So to Eeyore from the Twitch chat, who I was talking about, Andy V, who's one of my fellow teammates frequently in Halo Infinite. He said he's still trying to get a local rec league going here in the Sheboygan area, which is not far from Game On, like you mentioned. But another funny question, something I brought up when we first talked, our last conversation, he actually asked this question. He said, "Is this Mark Tauscher's brother?" Because the way your name is spelled,
no,
I
man,
thought it was Tauscher, but it's Tschacher, Andy. So Andy is pronounced Tschacher, not Tauscher. But when I saw that, the only other person name I seen spelled that way was my teammate and friend Mark. So I was like, Brandon, how do you say your name?
It's true. You're not alone. That is usually people's first go-to, because everybody's familiar, obviously, with Mark. So they're like, I'm going to assume it's that thing, but no.
Yeah. So what does, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but if to hit it now exactly, what does MKE Esports do for the gaming community here in the state of Wisconsin?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I would say what we have done really well, or at least I would give us credit as a team for having done a nice job of, is we're really good at connecting in what I'll call the B2B space, right? So we are
business.
Yep. So we're empowering businesses to get involved. We're empowering, administrators, coaches, kind of that the leadership, let's call it, level of the esports ecosystem, to get together and share best practices and get to know one another and collaborate on events and collaborate on, tournaments, just places, right? So we've done, I think, a nice job of that. The next, when I think of the gaming community, I think of specifically the gamers, like people who are playing the games. I would say that we're still in our very infant influence or impact in that space. And I don't know that we need to be the answer to that, but I'm optimistic in the future through our Discord and social channels that we can be a place for the gaming community to also connect. We've got great resources, right? Like Wisconsin Smash, if you go to wismash.com, is a great resource for the Smash gaming community to be able to find tournaments and events. Like, I don't know that will ever be our space, but like, if you go to our Discord and you look at the different introductions and you look at the different places people can play with each other, like, I'm hopeful that the more we can evangelize this, that the more gamers themselves will find connectivity. like, it's crazy to me just how difficult that seems. And maybe I don't know all the great resources, right? But like, I just started playing Elder Scrolls online, and like, I'm building a little team, like I'm building a guild, but I'm doing that through, I've got a fairly wide network. So I'm like literally just asking friends and asking people, and it's being fairly well received. But like, I should be able, in my opinion, to go to a gaming central hub that's regionally located, throw out, I'm looking to play ESO, and connect with any other ESO players in the region, right? And like, that is something that I still think is missing. And I don't know that we have the definitive product that would be the answer to that question, but I'm hopeful that we get there. So
so thinking, Station, what you just said. So Bryant Wilcox with BattleBox, he does and he's probably the second group or second person, but then also of a bigger group in, I know, Milwaukee for him, and I think I don't know where the other location at, but he does a big thing with Smash or fighting games at BattleBox. And so he does a week over week monthly tournaments on the weekends. And then it's another, I know now it's just a website, but they do have a location. I can't remember where, but they do another weekly and monthly Smash because one of my players brought it to my attention. No, it happened on one of our calls. I take that back. It was one of our calls. It was somebody who just built out we're monthly Wisconsin Smash players.
Oh, Spencer.
And, yeah, that's what it was. So that it just popped in my head. And I'm like, oh no, that was a part of your event too. So, but no, I hear what you're saying, because then, like talking to Sean and Tony last week from Edge Gamers Lounge here in Green Bay, they're having weekly tournaments of Halo or free for all on Friday nights, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta be there, because then I could go to that, so once a week or every other week I could go over there just to do my free for all and interact, make new connections and just have fun. And so I kind of know where you're hitting on that. And from the Twitch chat, JFK, one of my Madden players that is a good friend of mine. I met him down in Milwaukee down in Miami during Super Bowl a couple of years ago. He said would love to see that type of movement here in the Miami area for some Lakeland connection. So he's always been trying to talk with me about that. But yeah, hitting on what you're talking about, Brandon, just having that area to go, like that space to go find those other gamers in that game you play. It's something very, very much important. And I say it just brings on different little things about yourself and people who you get a chance to meet, basically. So
yeah, it's been super fun, man. I've been digging it.
Yep. So what are some of the exciting developments coming down the line for esports or Wisconsin Esports Alliance and for Wisconsin and abroad, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mentioned the Alliance. We're having the first Wisconsin Esports Summit in March. I'm pretty stoked for that. We're keeping it relatively small. We're not trying to blow it out and have some big thing to start.
And I got to finish my registration for that.
Yeah, man. But I mean, we've put that off for a long time. Right from the start, a lot of people, I would say, were asking for tournaments. We're asking for this type of thing, largely because it's cost prohibitive, and it takes so much time. And it's like, yeah, we could just throw cash at this thing, but that's probably not going to be sustainable. Nor would I say at that point we felt authentic enough to be a leader in that space, right? Like, we're not trying to come in and step on toes or act like anything we're not. Like, we were getting educated, we were making connections, we're trying to really be a part of this community. But I would say our board, kind of towards the end of last year said, I think we're ready to act as a leader in bringing people together in person. And obviously COVID played a role in this as well. But so to feel like we're at the point where we can put an event like the Summit on authentically and bring the right people to the table is a really big win. So I'm excited for that. I think that there are going to be more tournaments, more in-person opportunities to connect. Like what Jordan's doing at Tier 1, I'm so glad you're having them on, right? Like he's providing an awesome venue in Milwaukee for this type of tournaments and for this type of stuff. And he knows what he's doing, and he's a great guy. So that I'm really excited about, hopefully to partner with them too, what Bryant's doing. So I think the events side is going to increase a decent amount. I would foresee there were several projects last year that couldn't get off the ground because of funding and because of probably that COVID hangover along the lines of high school esport combines, some of these more, I would say I'll call them professional events to really help highlight local gamers, to get them access to colleges, to get them access to, pro teams. So I'm going to say that there's more of that coming down the line. And then also, I think we're just going to continue to evolve our story. So we came out with the first like state of esports last year in Wisconsin. As a little infographic that kind of just shared, hey, here's how many people are employed. Here's our current high school and collegiate. It just kind of tried to sell at a snapshot. This is what's happening. So I think there's going to be some more story to tell there. Our workforce development program just wrapped up its first cohort here in January. I had a chance to sit with the students of that on Monday. And that was incredibly encouraging. I mean, to hear folks talk about that they appreciated the education, that they're getting opportunities for career development, and that the instructors were great. I mean, I was just like so happy to hear that that's happening, because that's something that we have to continue to do as an ecosystem better. We need to empower and create access for people to get into esports. Right. And so I think to the question, that's coming down the line in a bigger and better way. We're looking to expand that to K through 12, looking to expand that out, to help people get access. And so I'm excited for that. That's one that I'm personally passionate about, because it's such a unique time to get in and to build and to grow. We need to spread that equity out. We need to create accessibility to that, whether it's at a university level, whether it's for alternative career pathway, we gotta start getting that out there. So that's what I would say is coming from my lens. What do you see coming? You always got the hook on stuff.
No, well, I mean, I see kind of similar things. I mean, I know I'll say what I was thinking real quick to get it out before I don't say it, is like what you mentioned about how 2020 affected the finance, when the finance behind events, because as well as I do, putting on a gaming tournament, it's just not going to happen just because you thought about it. Like, oh, it'd be so cool to do a Madden tournament or a Smash tournament or a Street Fighter tournament. Okay, it's going to take this much for casters. It's going to take this much for equipment. Maybe we have to ship something in from out of town. Don't necessarily mean out of state, but we got to get it here. So that stuff, I've been across a part of that wave. And been affected by the wave of COVID. And because I remember there's a part of the start of fall semester for Lakeland, and I think probably most colleges, we found out that we had a deficit of our enrollment that was basically kind of like cut. I'll say not kind of, but cut in half because of COVID. So then we had to cut back in a lot of finances and in each department. So esports department, football, baseball, so the athletic department as a whole, and then other departments on campus, just to see, make sure that we do what we need to do to make sure we get the students here on campus, and we cover our bills pretty much, to put it bluntly. But now that was in the fall, but now we were able to recover and get to the back where we're now we're above water, and now we could start planning for the future here at Lakeland, which is possibly working on a new facility, just having a little bit more space for gaming stations, things like that. So I definitely understand that side of it, because you got to have a game plan behind it. If you just say, saying it is one thing, but then putting it down on paper, spreadsheet, docs, to lay it out every step and plan it out. So then when you do the event, when the event is here, the event works. It looks good. People love it. Right. They can't wait till the next year, because then you saw it happen. But then after that event, as an organizer, what are you doing? You're troubleshooting. Okay, what could we done better? That's the first question I ask myself after every event I've done. What could I have done better? I ask some of the guests that I've talked to right away, or my friends that help me organize it. Say, hey, what could we done better? Where did we drop a ball? Where did we fumble the ball, make a mistake here in this situation of this part of the event, or was everything pretty good? And so then if it was pretty good, or even if there was a few mistakes, we just trying to, then make it better the next time out.
Dude, in events, I mean, I could go on about events.
Right.
The learnings that have come just from pursuing them. I mean, It's like I give all the credit to Battle, and I give all the credit to people. We got local TOs down here doing Smash Bros at bars, and it is so, passion drives so much of this. None of it is revenue. So I mean, it's so interesting to operate, especially as a business person. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur like that. A lot of times P&Ls are very important to me. And candidly, I think it's very important for this industry because there are too many lost leaders. But I think when you look at the architecture of what it takes to put on a successful, profitable esports event, I keep telling people, this is not you build it and they will come. I mean, you hit it on the head. Dreams don't make people put their butts in seats. People are far more comfortable being at home, competing for prize pools on their own. So it's you have to put an excellent product forward, and that costs money. So it's a very interesting, we could probably have an entire podcast just on it, But the way that this is evolving, and, I heard from someone recently, they're like, oh, and by the way, this might have been Kevin down at I Play Games in Chicago, who was an awesome dude. He's like, if a good person, I'm thinking of the fighting games community, if a certain top tier player puts their name in the hat, you may lose all the rest of your registrants because they're like, why would I participate in that? That dude's going to win.
Correct.
I mean, you think of the dynamics in that and you're like, wow, like it's not just that if I put on something great, everything could be right. The prize pool could be there, the timing, the game.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the kind of stuff that as an organizer, I mean, you're on the line for, so then you go, oh, we're just going to get sponsors to cover everything. Well, that's its own like slippery slope, know? So, I mean, you're kind of in that position where it's like, we get asked a lot for sponsorship and a lot for, hey, can we help do this stuff? And we're always wanting to empower and connect, but it's like, just throwing cash at this is not going to be the answer. Like, that's just my opinion. Like, this is not how you're going to get an event to succeed, to get traction. It's fascinating, man. It really is, the whole thing.
Yeah. And speaking to your point of inviting the best players in, because something obviously in the culture of esports, if you got a really good player, a really good team, like you said, coming in that tournament, that's going to deter other players. Because why? Because they're like, oh man, I don't want to get my butt kicked by that guy. Or
right. And for an entry fee, I don't want to pay for that. I don't want to pay to get my butt kicked. And usually there is some sort of fee to enter a tournament. So
$25 per person or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the max, by the way. I mean, that's what we're learning too. Like the price threshold for all of this, I would be sharing with people is like so low, so you're talking now. So you're talking venues, like, we're doing the summit at the Mecca. Like the Mecca is an incredible venue. That's not cheap. You know what I mean? So like, right. So like, that's why we have to charge a ticket fee, but like, that's a nice venue. I mean, they got 100-foot TV. They got TV. I mean, it's beautiful, right in the Deer District.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're doing that intentionally because we want to create an incredible experience for attendees. But man, like I would love to do a tournament there, but the rental fee is just prohibitive. Like it is. There's no way I can make that back up. Like in registrations for any game title, like let alone the internet access and all the rest. So anyway, I'm working on it. I'm optimistic that there'll be more, but I'm very bullish for places like Tier 1, for Battle, for pre-existing brick and mortar places. I want to drive all of this to them. That's at least my selfish interest. Like I want to drive, you want to do a tournament in Overwatch, Fortnite, whatever? Let's get you right in front of Jordan. Like let's get you working within their infrastructure because they're business owners, and let's make sure you can use their service. Like that's what I'm striving for today. And if we want to, as a community, get behind an idea of a major, that always gets brought up, do some major, like, fine. Okay. I think there's value in that too. I'd like to see that built. But that's a whole deal, man. We would literally need the entire community, in my opinion, to come behind that to make something like that really be successful. And I think we can do it. I just don't know that needs to be right now. So,
I get what you're saying. So, you mentioned about the esports summit coming up, the Wisconsin esports summit that you have planned coming up. So tell us exactly the details that you could tell us about that event coming up in March.
Yeah. So, I mean, for folks that are listening to this, I would say it's probably, like I mentioned, we're keeping it a fairly captive, I would say, invite this year. So we've been trying to, cap it at about 100 people. But we're working to really do personal invitations out to the community for folks that we think would really find value in this. That said, if the esports, ecosystem in Wisconsin is important to you, you feel you'd like to be a part of that conversation or be involved in it, like we'd certainly be open to having someone attend. So it's a $50 registration fee. It's March 10th, Thursday, March 10th from 1 to 5. It's downtown at the Deer District, the Mecca. But so our focus is we're not going to panel everybody to death. The focus of this is networking and connection. One of the things that we've seen from the Alliance's perspective is all of these different component parts evolving in our ecosystem. But no matter as much as we try, we know we still, with Zoom, with all these virtual offerings, can't make those connections go as fast as we'd like. And you saw it at IC Stars, right? Like I can only imagine how many conversations followed up with you after IC Stars. Like we're trying to accomplish that now at kind of a macro level. And so, so we're going to have, a panel by some of our sponsors to like let them share, why are you supporting esports? Because I think that's a very important thing to understand because these people get asked for a lot of sponsorships. Then we're going to have the future of esports conversation, which you're going to be a part of, which is, hey, what are we seeing? Where do we think this thing is going to go? And keep people kind of informed on how that might look. And then the second part is going to be just working sessions, right? So we're going to spend 45 minutes in kind of these niche areas, collegiate, high school, et cetera, to bring those communities together, to meet one another, to talk about what can we do together, how can we work together. And then we're going to kind of roll. I mean, from that point on, like it's, Thursday night in Milwaukee, I'm hopeful some people will stick around and have some food, chill, do whatever. So I'm optimistic that we'll be able to make it a community event for the evening and just have a bunch of fun. That's it. So I'm not trying to overbake it. I'm trying to make it where people are going to connect. That's the goal for this year.
Yeah, that's the big fun part. So like Italian Grego, which is another Husker here in the chat, he says Elder Scrolls is an amazing game. So he's right there along with you in that one. I've done that one. I tried it. What was it? Oblivion.
Okay.
I did a little bit of Oblivion, but I found out that is, it is a heavy game there in terms of just
it's nuts. It's bananas, man.
I was creating my my character, my species from my species to, I think I picked the elf, and then I had to pick the ears and the face structure, which is normal in some of them MMO games. So, but it was just like, oh wow. And I started talking to my friends who were like deep in it, kind of like yourself. It was like AG. It'll take over your whole life. So just be careful.
I know. Well, it's like you said, I got a kiddo at home. Like, so, I mean, I was into retro games because they're so easy. You just throw in Mario Kart, play for 20 minutes, you call it a day, like a very easy decompressor. But then I'm like, I'm so into this esports thing. I should probably play some modern console gaming. Like I need to play a little bit more of this. So this, like, I'm like, my buddies and I love this MMORPG stuff. And I'm like, let's do it. I mean, I am so lost, bro. Like I've created a character. I got the robe on, like I'm shooting lightning bolts and all this, but like, it's crazy. There's so much complexity to it. It's insane. And then like, I'm like a level 18 right now, which I'm like pretty proud of. But then I walked by some dude the other day on the screen, and he had like a dragon and a horse and some business. And I was like, what's this dude? Dude's like level 1050. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm just going to get toasted by all these people, but it's fun. My buddies and I get on like you do, right? We throw the headsets on, we chat, we have fun like that. I love that stuff so much. And we do it from 9 to 11 when the kid's asleep, So like, that's our space.
Nice. All right. So I got a question here from JFK. He said, how do you go about finding sponsorships? Because I know an event can be more successful with a sponsor than out of pocket. So what do you offer sponsors in the return?
Well, I would say for an event in particular, I mean, this is the paradigm that is so difficult. There is literally usually not a ton of return on investment depending on who's going to be going to this thing. So you almost need somebody who's just community supportive. Like, I want to just see this community grow and I'm willing to invest. But I always say, like, my advice is, whether it's a new formation event, whatever, like, you have to have a pitch deck. Like, you need to have a very professional delivery of whatever you're going to ask for, because just by showing that you yourself can deliver a professional product, I think people will believe in the cause more. I think a lot of times, this isn't to like throw shade, I think that's where a lot of times people fall short, because their passion is gaming. Their passion is organizing. Like, their passion is not sponsorship. So the hope is they can say, hey, look, like, I got 70 people to come play Smash Bros. Like, you should sponsor us. And like, that's what they say verbally, or that's what they call it.
Yeah, you got to have more than that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just so, I would say that that's how I find it. You can find community people that are interested in supporting the community. That would be my recommendation, to just try first. Literally philanthropy. Because like, unless you have an AV company, unless you've got a telecom company, which I'm trying to work with some of those groups to do just this thing.
Right.
A lot of times there's just not a lot of non-endemic or endemic sponsors out there in gaming, particularly in Wisconsin. And the ones that get 100 sponsor asks a week. So it's like, I think it would just be, are you willing to support this community? Would you like to help see us get off the ground and present a very professional product, a pitch deck? Here's the stats, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think will get someone inspired to help support, would be my answer to that today.
Nice. So there you go, JFK. Hopefully that gives you a little idea in front, and hit me up too. We talk, we're friends hit me in the Discord. You're in my Discord. So we could talk more about that when I know you're probably looking to plan out a big Madden tournament in the South Florida area for sure. Because that's his game of choice there, Brandon.
Nice.
So,
nice. Yep. I dig that.
Yep. So here, one of the last questions here to wrap this up here. So what are other events and programs that are coming down the line in the next 6 months to a year for MKE Esports Alliance?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say, we do our quarterly Zooms. So we bring in the community every
Yep,
once a
once a
quarter. So
month.
we're going
Yeah.
to, yeah, so we got
Or
a
a
couple of
quarter
those
every
coming
4
up.
months. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on a monthly option, but right now it's
Okay.
quarterly just because that's what we can sustain. So I would say, please, if people want to intersect, please come to our quarterly Zooms, reach out. I think my stuff, thank you, is at the bottom, kind of scrolling. Like
Yep.
if anyone out there right now is saying they'd like to find out more, they want to chat or get involved in this, like just hit us up, Discord, Twitter, wherever. We want to make sure that we get you connected and into those resources. So that's upcoming. Our second cohort for the workforce development program, I think kicks off in March. I still think there are some openings for that. So you could literally get an education in esports if you wanted to. So we're excited about the offering for that. And then I would say, we're kicking around with IC Stars. And I'll say the name Summerfest because we haven't brought this to them yet. But there's some on the horizon opportunities to do some pretty cool stuff. And like you say, it's all just talk until it happens. So I won't make it sound or oversell it more than what it is. But we've got a good footing on some pretty substantial organizations in this state, like I'll say a Summerfest, that have a really big interest in this. And it's just figuring out the pieces. And so I would say, I think we'll probably this year figure one of those pieces out to bring something pretty cool to the state. That's just kind of my gut feeling right now. So keep an eye on that because I think it's coming.
I will. And I know you'll reach out to me if you need me.
I was going to say, you'll be there, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. So JFK said, great. He said, great answer. Thank you for that. And then Mad Max asked, what is the Discord for MKE? I believe I'm in it, so I could tag it. You know what? I'll create a link here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I got a URL. I don't know if I have anything else than that.
Yeah, I know I have it. I'm in it. Let me just see if it's on here. But I'll create it for you, Mad Max, and get it out to you. But yeah, there is a Discord for MKE out there. Well, let me see. I can't find it right now. I'll find it for you. Get it out there. So
I don't know if I could put in the comments or something, but
yeah, we can find get in the comments before the end of the show. We got a lot of time for that. So and also Eeyore says, I have a bunch of people asking me for support due to the store. So this is another person who loves video games in Wisconsin. And he said, but it's always like I can't support you financially in, so I can only give you help on getting eyes on the support. So kind of what you're hitting on, Brandon. It's something to do it. To talk about it and then doing it is two separate things. And it takes a lot. It takes a community. That's why it's called the Milwaukee Esports Alliance. And that's why these alliances around the United States and different states there, because the smart people like us, we know I can't do this by myself unless, and it's one of those big unlesses, unless I'm Bill Gates, or unless I'm this person that has a whole bunch of money in my bank account, that you could do that.
It's so interesting though, Matt, because and I appreciate Gaming Generations is amazing. Like Evan, the whole team, I can understand. I'm sure they get all sorts of stuff. I would even say, even if you have unlimited funds, that's not the way to do it. Esports, to my money, has already gone down this path. Macro level, there are big brands putting big dollars into things. And you look at FaZe's IPO or SPAC they're trying to do, they're estimating $150 million in losses over the next 4 years. I'm an investor. I'm sorry, that's not an answer. So to me, candidly, even if there's people with deep pockets who could contribute to the growth of this and to the growth of local teams and all the rest, I just would be candidly saying it's not there right now. People are not providing a comprehensive enough reason to invest. And so I can appreciate, a lot of folks get asked about that kind of stuff. And I hope that the Alliance can provide those resources in a meaningful way, the same way that, Eeyore is saying that he does it. That's what I hope we can be of value at. But even with funds, I just don't think that's going to set anybody up. I'm presenting it a thing in a little bit here. And it's the first thing I'm advising is don't set whatever you create up on sponsorships. Don't do it. Don't build your business off sponsorships because they go away. They just do. They always do. They're not going to be a 10-year sustainable financial model. So try to build something where you can generate revenue off of a non-transient pathway.
Yeah, make it easier on yourself in the beginning. Just learn the planning stages and then start small.
Yep.
Do a nice intimate, 10-person tournament of a game that go there first. And then after that, then you'd be like, okay, this is what I need for another level up, maybe 12, maybe 14 people, and maybe get one sponsor or somebody. Start small. Because I remember doing my my foundation tournaments for Halo. And actually, I did it out of state. I did it in Nebraska, but I had boots on the ground there. I had people there that could reach out, that could get sponsorship, that already worked with other companies. So then when you have more than one person and you have a team of people that understand, okay, this is what we got to do to put the work in to get this result, and then it comes out a little cleaner. It comes out a little better. I say in the long run, if you're, want to go down that path. So.
Yeah, actually, a group that did a nice job of that recently was like a place down in Milwaukee called Dark Fusion Systems. They do like custom PC builds. They're like a small group of guys, and they just did like a tournament at the Iron Horse Hotel that was like a 20-person cap. They basically knew everybody that was coming, and they were just doing it to test and to like get the community buy-in. Like I would echo what you're saying and say that to me is a great path to like, and I think, to yours comment, like if you want to get these gaming companies, gaming entities involved, like go to them with something like that. Like, and that doesn't always have to be financial. Could just be your venue, could be the place, and be collaborative and say, I want to do something well with a small group that's fun. Let's start there and see what we can build up to. I think that'd be a excellent path to pursue. Totally agree.
Yeah, for sure. So Brandon, how much time you got?
I'm good, man.
You good? All right, we got our next
12:30, I think.
All right. Oh, good. We got plenty of time. We get through the next stuff here. So we got a fun area called This or That. I don't know if you could hear that audio. Did you hear that audio?
No, I didn't hear it, but I like the game.
All right. We got a fun X section here called This or That. So, it's the typical fun little geek stuff sometimes, or just thinking outside of the box on questions and answers. And I get to know you a little bit more because I know you pretty good. But now I'm going to get behind the layers, behind the closed doors answers on stuff I may want to know here. So the first question up is, win an award for starring in a movie or win an award for starring in a play on the stage?
I go movie.
Movie?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say I'm a movie guy too. I like all the big screen. I've been to plays. I do enjoy them, but I've got the more of the experience and the foresight when I watch a movie. Like, okay, I could have did that role. I could have did Sam Jack or Tom Cruise. I could be jumping off buildings. I'm still in shape. I could do that.
That would be fine. So, yeah, mine was selfish. I was like, because I'm a theater guy. Like, I love the theater. I grew up in the theater, but I'm like, my selfish answer was I kind of like movie because you get more exposure. And I'm like,
true.
The movie star lifestyle is not a bad one. I mean, I know they complain about I can't go anywhere or whatever, but like, it's okay. Like, it's a nice world. I don't mind. So that's where I came into it. Selfish exposure.
Exactly. So, and then Tony and Sean from Edge Gamers Lounge, they mentioned that they do a lot of production, and they said it is easier be more of a movie star than a TV show actor because of the time. Because once you do a movie, you're there for 2-3 months if it's on location, and then boom, you're done. But TV show, obviously, it's weekly episodes that you're going into the studio. So that's why you have to move to LA, or you got to move to New York, or you got to move to Texas, Florida, wherever the series is being shot. Stake up there, have a place, have an apartment or something. When if it's something like, remember what was it, Twin Peaks? Remember Twin Peaks from back in the? I don't want to be in Canada.
No, bro, for real.
And if I'm not from Canada, I don't want to be in Canada for 12 months because we thought Wisconsin is rough on cold weather. Now it gets
worse.
Yeah, it gets way worse up north. In the north. All right, the next This or That. I thought this was a little odd one for myself too. So drink 1 glass of hot water or 3 glasses of cold water.
Well, this is easy for me, dude.
I was like, what am I thinking right now? But
that is a trippy question. I'll give you that. I would go 3 glasses of cold automatically. I'm like a water fiend. I mean, I drink so much water, way more than recommended amount per day, because I just think water is everything. So I would take 3 glasses of cold. I'm not much of a hot water drinker. So that's an easy one for me.
But being them, that's an athlete thing. We know better. I got my bottle's empty right now of water. So I'm definitely a 3 cold glass water. I just hit my Peloton this morning for an hour right before I jumped on stream. So I got water and Gatorade like stacked all by my bike. So water.
I'll get your name off thing because I just got a Peloton like 3 weeks ago, and holy crap, dude. I'm in the midst of some major debate because I got buddies that got high outputs and like they're not in that great of shape. And we're having the debate. So we're having the debate because I'm like, I've never been bad at anything athletic. And I got these guys talking a lot of trash to me right now. So we had a fairly extensive debate on the value of output, like his size comparison to body. So I need to know your outputs immediately. I might have to get your screen name because like this is getting real. I'm getting that competitive juice going now with this Peloton thing, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and a good friend of mine, we call him V. That's his nickname.
Okay.
And he challenged me last year during the pandemic, and I said, "Yeah, let's go." And last year, I ended up winning. So we did the whole. I think it was February or January, and it was a miles thing. How many miles in a month?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we both were well over like in a month. I think he knows better than me, but I want to think between 400 and 500 miles in a month because we were going at it. We were going back and forth.
Yep.
And he found out, like, I was like, man, I'm competitive, V. I was like, I'm very competitive. He's like, okay, he's a basketball. He has basketball background. He's an athlete too. So he's like, no, I'm competitive too. And so it was just fun for me, the adjustments that we both had to do between work schedules and, it was COVID, but, coming back and forth, then I noticed that he started picking up different ride times. Riding either really late at night or really early in the morning. And I'm more of a I say I'm a morning workout person, but I like to get my sleep. So I'll probably get up around 8 o'clock at the latest and then hit the bike. He was up at like 5 a.m. I'm like, woof. Oh, man. And then I found out here's another hack though for Peloton. And I just noticed it because we just started up this last week and he's going to like this one. I picked this up when I was game planning him. I'm watching because you can see everybody's stats, right?
Oh yeah.
I noticed that his RP, so his resistance. So when your resistance is high, it makes you go faster miles per hour. Yeah. So then you can go faster miles per hour in a certain mile. So you could usually I could get a mile in 3.5 minutes. Yeah. So now I'm getting that mile at a higher resistance at like 2.5 minutes. So a minute off. Man. So that means I could get almost 4 miles in 3 minutes. So I'm rolling. So
that's that's the whole thing though. So like my buddy, we could go on with this, but so the 30-minute record, he said his 30-minute output record was like 600. And I'm like, mine was at 300. And I'm like, this dude is 6'2", 240. And I'm like, he's been doing Peloton for 2 years, but like, he's not in great shape. I mean, I'll tell him to the face. Like, he knows, like, we're out doing a weight loss challenge right now, right? So, like, homie's sitting there at 600, and I'm at 3. And so I'm like, all right, I need to just see. So I push it balls to the wall as good as I can do it. And I got it up to 360 in 30 minutes. And then basically the debate started because I started analyzing his stuff. And homie was doing resistance of 100, but he's going at 40 to 50 the whole time. So I'm like, resistance, like, I don't even know if you're sweating. That's a very difficult thing. So don't get me wrong. That's just painful to imagine slogging for 30 minutes. But I'm like, you're just getting really high outputs. It's not like a measure of your fitness or ability. And I'm like, and the reason you could do that is because you're bigger. And I looked up online. It said, does being bigger affect your Peloton output? And it said like it did. Now he's like, he just vehemently denies this. And I'm talking like we had a massive group text going on around this for days, fighting back and forth. And so now it's like, all I have to do is get better. That's what the reality is. Then he's sending me people that are, less like me. Like I'm like 5'11", 200 something. And he's sending me that. And he was like, look, they got higher scores than me. And I'm like, you are a better Pelotoner than me. That is a fact. But I'm telling you, your weight and your height affect this. It's easier to push a door open with a cinder block than a feather. So like, and he just won't have it. He's like, it's just not true. He said, my weight has nothing and my height has nothing to do with this. And I'm just like, you're jogging the system with this 100 resistance thing. That's just a hack. You're just hacking the output system. Right. And B, you're bigger. So man, I've had to stop. I have to just improve. That's all there really is to it. I got to get better.
Right.
But give me a
break. And that's what I said to myself in the first couple of days. Then I saw what he was doing too. Then I found out what you found out. It's a hack. So
it's a hack.
Yeah. So it's not just me and my good friend V here. So Big Boom Howard said he's a cold water guy as well. Sticking to that and then the next this or that here is sleep for 2 hours a night or get only 1 meal a day.
Man.
Working out.
I gotta push on both, man. I don't think I could do either.
Right. That's when I wrote that one. I was like, this is a tough one.
That is tough. I don't even know.
This is a dilemma. Well, I'll go first. Let you think. I'm gonna say I gotta eat something. So I'm gonna get 2 hours of sleep because I gotta eat. I gotta eat 3 meals a day. And either way, I'm not in a good shape. with 2 hours of sleep and only in 3 meals a day, I might eat more just to kind of build up my energy or something. So I'm gonna go with 2 hours of sleep at night.
Okay. I mean, I guess I would say a meal just because I need sleep real bad, but I like being awake. I like being alive and living. So I feel like if I had to give something away, it's like, all right, I guess I get to do more living. Plus I get to eat. So that's cool.
Right. All right. Dog's barking. I don't know what they're barking at. We might have a delivery guy here.
I was gonna say, it's always Amazon, dude.
Yeah. Which is fine with me. All right. This next one here. Actually, see what the comments say here. Big Boom. He said, oh, he's a 1 meal guy.
Okay.
Hey, nice. Power to you, baby. Cause I need to eat. I need more than 1 meal. All right, here we go. Next one on the list here. Have an automated home or a self-driving car.
I'd say automated home. I don't mind cruising around, but having like automatic blinds and turn on the smart bath and all that stuff, I'm for that. That stuff's cool.
Yeah, it's everywhere around us. I mean, it's a lot of companies that have the options to make between your, like you said, the cameras, the speaker system, the curtains. And then I remember way back when I was a Seahawk and I was in Seattle in Microsoft territory. Since Paul Allen was co-owner of the Seahawks, we basically could get a free tour of Microsoft's campus whenever we wanted. We just got to call up, check the times, and then they'll escort us into the group that was getting the tour. And then I saw 1998 a refrigerator that told you when you need to replace your eggs and your milk and other things in 98. Okay. And so, dude, something that I just saw in movies thinking it was just a movie thing and no, and it's not. I was like, oh, I saw that in that so-and-so movie. Oh, that's pretty dope. But I got to get to an answer here. I'm liking though the self-driving car though. Tesla, and I know it's more coming down the line. I know like what is the F-150 kind of self-drives a little bit. Yeah. I've seen the commercials where people are doing this. They're doing without, and not touching the steering wheel. I'm kind of there. So I'm gonna go self-driving vehicle. Home stuff, I'm more self-efficient. I like to clean. I know when to clean up. I know when the milk is low. I don't need a machine to tell me that. I want to have I want to still be functional myself so I can do this. I don't want to get too lazy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we got Big Boom Howard says automated home and he loves to drive. So is it both? Is he both? Yeah. And then we have Roger Dodger says automated home, no cleaning ever think of all the time you save. Got it. That's true. Good point. All right, here. Next one on the line here. This is now we're getting into so between that one and this one, we're thinking like futuristic stuff. So here we go. Robotic arms or bionic eyes. I might say Superman eyes maybe, and look, obviously Superman eyes because he looks through everything. He can see through anything, and then obviously he has the lasers that comes out and that can in you.
I'm feeling bionic eyes. Yeah, I'm feeling bionic eyes because I'd like to believe I'm going to keep the arms. You can work out the arms and keep them operational. Eyes, man, I don't know, eat carrots, but that's your only option. Like eyes is tough. Bionic eyes is a win.
Right. I'm with you there. I'm bionic eyes as well because you can see through things. If you game, if you're doing whatever, you gotta find out some useful information for yourself. Just kind of sit there and
I'm ready for that. The smart glasses.
Yeah. I just saw, matter of fact, speaking of smart glasses, my birthday's coming up, so I went on down the line. My birthday's next Wednesday. We'll still have a show, everyone, podcast, everything.
Birthday show
and on live on Twitch. But I saw a pair of eyeglasses similar, built just like these that actually like built in, which I've seen them before, but now audio glasses. But I'm like, I wonder what's on the screen if it's audio. Can you be sitting there watching Netflix on your shades there?
I'm for it. Whatever it is, I'm in. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. All right, here, next one on the list. I think next to last one here, and this is the last one here. And you said you were a movie guy or a theater guy. So this is getting into the musical stuff. So talk only in songs, like in a Disney movie, or only in whispers.
Hey, man, did you come up with these questions? These are good questions. Where did you get this from, man?
Hey, I sit here. This is probably the longest and the hardest part of my rundown. I'm gonna run a show.
For real.
I sit here and really think deep. I think like a kid for one. I have that part of my brain where I could shift back to a 5-year-old of mine and be like, stuff I used to ask my parents questions. And I was like, they're like, what's like, baby, you asked that question. I don't want to answer that question. He's confusing me right now. He's like, I'm just worried about paying the taxes right now. So yeah, talk in song. So basically like a Disney movie. Or how you doing? What's up, Brent?
What's that song?
This whole show.
Let me whisper in your ear. Yeah.
We can get a whole episode.
Nope. You've answered the question for me. I'm not, man. I'd rather sing to you and rap the whole time. That's fine. I appreciate Big Boomhauer said Whispers can't be a Frozen movie. You could sign me up for the Frozen movie. We'll just do a whole song the whole time. That'd be fine. Yeah. I can't do with this person.
That would be. I think you probably eventually maybe lose your voice. Well, either way, you could probably lose your voice singing or whispering. But I would do singing. I say I'm not a singer per se. I'm more of the rap type. So give me some lyrics. You got to write them for me because I know I can't write rhymes. I already know that for a fact. That's one thing I know. I don't have an artsy part of me. I can't draw. I mean, I could draw, but it's not going to look good. I can sing. It's not going to sound good, but I'm going to give it. Let's trust me. I could give it the good old heave ho. I'll give it 100% effort. Yeah. But am I going to win a Grammy? No. I'm going to probably win those awards that they make fun of you awards. So like the Razzies,
sure.
The Razzie. And I'll be proud of it too, because I already know.
That's fine.
I'm not that guy. I'm not, Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
I don't sound like those young men. No. But I can, one of these episodes, I might bust out, I know LL Cool J, I know a few of his songs. And I say, you'll know this guy, Brandon, Sir Mix-a-Lot. I know a few of his songs. So, for anybody else in the chat, if you know who Sir Mix-a-Lot, it's Baby Got Back. I love that song. You know, the video was hilarious when I was a kid watching that video. It was like, oh, okay, this is funny as heck.
Educational and funny. Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely. I like how you put that in there, educational. All right, here. Let's head on to. So you got about a few more minutes here for yourself. So I'm gonna head over to quick. Oh, where am I at? There we go. Boom. Quick hit news bites here. So speaking of video games, I just found I was looking for something, couldn't really find none, but I found something very, very cool and very interesting. And this game is going to eventually come out. Everybody's been talking about it for year over year. But Mr. Phil Spencer, the boss, so Xbox boss, wants Starfield to be the most played game that Bethesda has ever made. Now, that's a bold statement, you know. So reading an article here from GamesRadar.com. So it says Xbox's Phil Spencer wants Starfield, like I said, to be the most played game ever, the developer told by Todd Howard. So it says yesterday in a tweet thread, Axos gaming reporter Stephen Tilo, if I'm saying that correctly, published a slate of remarks he received when interviewing Xbox Phil Spencer earlier this year. In particular, Tilo highlighted the comment seen just below, revealing that Spencer is aiming to make Starfield the most played game released by Bethesda creator director Todd Howard ever. So I think this is a big task, you know. So if I have a game before it even comes out, I know it's been hyped up a lot. And obviously these big developers behind it, companies that we know, Bethesda, Microsoft is working behind it to have it. But I think to me, you know, I'm humble. But I guess for the track record between Microsoft and Bethesda of games they release, I think having that confidence in himself and his company, that's probably why Phil is saying this statement with Starfield, because obviously Starfield, I've been hearing about Starfield probably since 2016. Easy, and how people are like, man, I can't wait till this game come out. But it's like, to me, it's like, what other games previous to this one are are even close to Starfield that we'll know, you know, to try to learn off of or see how good it is to be. But we know the best Bethesda, they got Fallout, all the Fallout series they did, and then obviously Halo games that, you know, not Halo, Microsoft games that's been out, like Halo, Destiny and stuff like that. So for me, you know, I wouldn't go this far, but I say for a company that has the track record, Brandon and Twitch chat, I think they have a lot of confidence in themselves and in producing this game.
I mean, it's interesting because, like, obviously, I think they did Elder Scrolls too.
Yeah.
Like playing that and assuming what this will be like, it's almost as much like you only have so much time. And I'm just genuinely curious, like for people that are at level 1050 in ESO, like I gotta wonder, man, are they gonna like switch over to something new? I mean, you just
Right.
put in so much time and effort. Like that's my curiosity is like, I would have loved to have played a space exploration MMO RPG as much as medieval one. But like now that I'm
Right.
down that path, it's kind of like, well, all right, like, do I just switch? It's a very interesting paradigm, but yeah, I mean, they got all the money. That Phil Spencer dude was in the Wall Street Journal, on their main page this week. I read an
Right.
article about him and kind of what he's trying to do with the Activision acquisition and
Right. We talked
a
about
lot of
that
that
last
stuff.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just interesting. He seems like he's got a vision, and they're all into the cloud side of things. So yeah, pretty cool.
Exactly. So it continue on here. It says Howard has released a suite of Elder Scrolls and Fallout games under Bethesda over the last 2 decades, which all have been played by hundreds of hours eagerly offering players a brand new content hidden in the far reaches of their massive in-game worlds, which we know of. And then he said also people still are playing Skyrim, a game that is celebrated its 10th anniversary last year to the very day. So they have a strong following from Skyrim over the last decade. So that best Bethesda released Skyrim Anniversary Edition last year, building the previous DLC and expansions, as well as a brand new aspect fishing to the 10-year-old game out there. So Starfield to top Skyrim's decade plus playtime is not so small of a feat. So still Spencer is obviously a high hopes and for spacefaring RPG, which is set to relaunch this year in November 11th. It's going to be on PC, Xbox One, Series X, and Series S as well. And then on get Xbox Game Pass, of course. They got to do it, So I thought that was interesting just to see what companies are doing, what companies are thinking. And obviously, I think just like anything, just like in sports, when you work out, you game plan, you get the job, you have what you do, what you need to be ready to play that game, which is similar to a developer. They got everything lined up and they've done it before with other games like Fallout and Skyrim. Then they can then have that confidence going into the build out of this new game. And I'm sure this new game should be almost finished. If it's coming out in November, they're just doing editing, fixing, cleaning it up and getting it ready for launch, basically. So I thought I'd put that in there. And so we got about a couple more minutes for you. So if you got to run, I know you said 12:30. I don't want to hold you too long. If you want to stay, it's up to you. Let me know.
Well, I'll say I probably should use the restroom before I head into this next meeting, so I may take you up on that offer.
Yeah, go right ahead, man. Brandon, I want to say thank you, man, for jumping in, sharing the information. I got it here on the website, and before I finish off, I'm gonna put everything, all your information, your social media, your phone number, your email, all the stuff where people can find you, ask you, and then eventually get that Discord in there for my people that follow me. I'll put it on I'm gonna probably stream later this week to get that out there to them as well.
Cool, man. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Always good to chat with you. Thanks for everybody that was, in here with us chatting and stuff. That was awesome. And it's happening. We're making something happen, I think, in this state together. And it'll be cool to see where things continue to go.
Yep. All right, Brandon, man. You have yourself a good rest of your day.
All right, later, man. Take it easy.
All right. Yep. All right. Brandon Tschacher there from MKE Alliance. Outstanding. One of the, I'll say, innovators, leaders of planning out and helping people connect, as he said in the beginning of that interview. So we know how we do it on this show. I'm good going gamer in-laws. I'm doing good. So you know how we do it on here. We're about to get into, we already did this or that. Now we're going to get over to game releases. So let me get set up there. And I got a fun game here. I know it's just me. Once John gets back, we'll be able to get into our fun conversations of games. So let me know if y'all hear this, because I was working on the audio last week and I thought I hit the right button. So let me know if you hear what I'm about to do right here. All right. Did y'all hear that? Because I clicked the button. Maybe. Dang. I thought I found it. I thought I found the button. But anyway, I could have swore I found the button for y'all to hear the audio. But let me know if y'all hear this coming up here on my game of the week. It's a fun game. It's called Sci-Fu. Let me hear it. Let me know if y'all hear it. So Sci-Fu. It is one life enough to, I say, is one life enough to live Kung Fu? So inside Fu is the story of a young Kung Fu student on a path of revenge, hunting for the murderers of his family. Um, so one against all, he has no allies and countless of enemies. He has to rely on his unique mastery of Kung Fu as well, the mysterious pendant to prevail and preserve his family legacy. So this game is released by Epic Games. It came out yesterday for $49.99 or $49 even. So on the path of vengeance, the hunt for enemies will take you through hidden corners of the city, from the game-ridden suburbs to the cold hallways of the corporate towers. You have to go. You have got one day and countless enemies on your way. For every mistake, time will be the price to pay. So adaptation in this way. So careful positioning and clever use of the environment to use to your advantage is key to your survival. Use everything at your disposal. You could throw tables, you could throw objects, makeshift weapons, windows, the kitchen sink, ledges. So the odds are stacked against you, and you will be offered no mercy inside Fu. So Kung Fu is master through practice, a path of both bodies and mind. Learn from your errors, unlock unique skills, and find the strength with yourself to master the devastating technique of Pak Mi. If I'm saying this right, Pak Mi Kung Fu. So there you go. There's Sai Fu by Epic Games. Check it out. I saw this game. I was like, ooh, this is big fun. If you saw that, I'm gonna get out of that right now. So check out Sai Fu, man. It is a fun game. I'm working on the audio. I thought I had it. I did click something last week and it said audio to the other picture. So I'm so mad. I'm so disappointed. But y'all can hear my voice describing and talking about it. So now we're headed into row your boat on the stream. All right, what's on stream here? And so I think if you listen to the podcast, you'll hear that audio. So I'm gonna go. So what's on stream? So I had like I said, I mentioned in earlier part of the show, my granddaughter, 2-year-old granddaughter, is here visiting, and we're watching a ton of. I forgot to mention too. Yeah, a ton of Coco Melon, and I started to lose my mind as an adult. Like it's just repetitive. The wheels on the bus go round and round, and it was like I met my limit. I met my limit. So I was like, let's watch something else. Let's watch something new, different. Let's not watch or hear this for another hour. Give me a break, you know? So what I ended up doing, going on Disney Plus, I found a fun series in reference to Black History Month. If you go on Disney Plus, they have a whole area that's dedicated to Black History Month. But Black History Month to me is 365, 24/7. But they have a new series out there called Rise Up. And I said, Rise Up, Sing Out. So here is the video, fun video that shows, and it talks about, it is Questlove, Amir Thompson, and Tyreek Trotter, Black Thought from the musical group, rap group, The Roots. So it's an anime series that is a music-based series that is designed to provide an inspiring and empowering message about race, culture, and community, celebrating differences and providing a framework for conversation. So the shorts, the episodes are only like 2-3 minutes long. They're real short episodes. So we watch the episodes in like a half hour, which is great, obviously, for kids. That was a quick preview of it. So it's celebrating the differences and providing a framework for conversation. The shorts, like I said, the shorts feature Questlove and Tariq Black Thought Trotter, the rap group from my childhood, I'll say mid-90s onto 2000. So they got a nice series there on Disney Plus. And go check out all the other movies and series they have on Disney Plus and other apps out there. They're not the only app doing anything for Black History Month. And then they're not the only app that does anything just for 1 month. They do every month. There's something related to diversity and culture in our world of entertainment. So check out Disney Plus, check out Netflix, check out Paramount Plus. They have shows that have a little bit of everything for everybody out there to enjoy, to love. in there to watch and educate ourselves, educate our kids in a fun and inspirational and an entertaining way. So Rise Up and Sing Out. It's on Disney Plus. Check it out. Enjoy yourself. And we're at the end of the show. I want to say that's it, man. I want to say thank you for everybody jumping in this show here today. We had a great show with Brandon Tschacher, not Tschacher. Tschacher, not Tschacher. It's spelled pretty much the same, but I think it's different. So there's his information. He's on Facebook, MKE Esports Alliance, Twitter at MKE_esports, and Instagram also MKE Esports there. So you can find him there. And then, of course, you can find me here. Those are my outlets. I've been overwhelmed with a 2-year-old, so you have to apologize for a lot of my posting that has not been happening with myself and my stream and Lakeland. Like, I'm one man doing a lot of tasks. I have some of my students, talking to them. They're helping me out with some of the posts. Actually, I had one chime in with me today during the stream. So I'm going to get to him, and I'm going to check his edit to post it up. I think it's for the Valorant, or it was for League of Legends, I think. So yeah, JFK and Prof Peter TV says, peace, my guy. Great stream, or good stream. And thank you, Prof Peter TV there. And JFK 305 from the MIA, he says, great stream, man. Thank you, JFK, man. Good seeing you. And hopefully I could get down to Florida, man. We can hang out. Because I have another friend that lives down there. And he's from there. And I've been knowing him for 20 plus years. So I went and visited him I'll say right after school went out. It's like in May. So I'm thinking I'm going to try to go visit him again to hang out. And when I'm down in Miami, I'll hit you up. So we can go play some Madden. You could beat me up. So I got to at least, or maybe get my game right before I get down there. So we can have a nice little battle. If not, you're going to destroy me. Just letting you know. Because I have not been playing. Well, like I said, I got a 2-year-old. So for anything, if I miss calls or miss the email, that is the reason. So I had to kick in like I said, a granddaddy daycare here. And I'm coming out of it. My wife is back now. She can relieve me a little bit, but now we're a team. We can now attack this little baby and take care of her and not get overwhelmed like I have been for the last week and a half. So I appreciate everyone chiming in tonight. We'll be back next week. We will have Janine from Icy Stars, along with Jordan, like Brandon mentioned, from Tier 1 in the Milwaukee area here on the show. Actually going to be my birthday, so I'm running the show. So it's going to be, we'll actually got to be People Who Love Wisconsin Part 4 and birthday episode. I don't know what I might do something special for it. I might, since I'm, got a birthday list and going to be reserving some birthday gifts, maybe I might hand out a few giveaways here on the stream, here on the podcast / stream, which we haven't done on the podcast yet. Do some giveaways here. So I might have to go into, I don't know how we're going to do that, not being in my OBS, but I'll figure it out. I got a week to figure it out. So I hope everyone has a great week. It's hump day. Enjoy Super Bowl weekend. If you have a party, be safe, have fun. Get the low hanging fruit on the prop bets. All right, out there for the prop bettors out there. What jerseys are the Rams going to wear? Who wins the coin toss bets? Find those easy bets. Don't go, stay away from the bets that are, little. But I mean, I know the feeling it gives, the rush of going to them bets and try to win those major bets. But get the low hanging fruit, stuff. What's like? I found out there's a prop bet of Matt Stafford's yards per carry, or the yards he'll gain, which won't be much. I think it's like 4.5, something like that. If you know betting, check it out. Bet online. I did a stream last night with a whole bunch of GMs from Fantasy League, the Hall of Fantasy League, which was their season finale. Met up with Terrell Davis online. So yeah, met those GMs from Atlanta, from LA, from New York area that are serious fantasy leaguers, and they have websites they go on to talk about fantasy football and bets and props and all that. Check them out. Bet online. I know it's the company that I now work with on my blog podcast. So check it out, please, to find out, and be safe and have fun watching the Super Bowl, because I know I am. I'm doing a watch along, by the way, for all the greenies in the house. I'm doing a watch along with Millions.co. It's a new company similar to Cameo. So I'll get that link out to everyone. It should be on my Instagram and my Facebook, because they will be advertising through my social media pages. So if you don't have that information, and I'll try to get it out as soon as I can. It should be out already, but if not, I'll get it out to you more. So everyone have a great rest of your week. And I'm back on the scene down in Lakeland doing my thing. We got Call of Duty tonight. I'll try to stream it. And then I think tomorrow we have some other games. And then Friday we have League of Legends. So there we go. So everyone have a good rest of your week. And game on.